facing the police every single day.
Breaking: potential voter registration data breach and election fraud in the Free State of Florida. Staff writer. January 13, 2024. No comments. Public domain. Please follow us on Gab, Minds, Telegram, Rumble, Truth Social, GetR, Twitter. Guest post by Dr. Joseph Sansone. After the massive election fraud in the 2020 election when President Trump's general election victory was stolen, concerns over fraudulent elections have only grown as expected. In 2020, and then again in 2022, there was deliberate obvious mail-in ballot stuffing, and computer vote fraud. The deliberately obvious ballot stuffing was designed to place the focus on mail-in ballots, which is a serious issue, so that focus on computer voting was ignored. Unfortunately, it does not appear that integrity in the vote has been restored. Certainly, not in the state of Florida. The so-called Free State of Florida has its issues. The Florida Secretary of State is investigating a potential data breach and election fraud involving the Charlotte County Supervisor of Elections, SO, office. A computer with an operational hard drive was discovered in an unsecured public access dumpster outside the Charlotte County Supervisor of Elections office. Dave Kalin, a candidate for Charlotte County SO, came into possession of this computer in December of 2022 and immediately gave the computer to his attorney, who has it stored in a vault. According to Kalin, a group of concerned voters showed up at his home at 11 p.m. and provided him with the hard drive and a large bag of single shredding all from the SO office public accessible dumpster. Kalin reported that he has an extensive background in IT and bank security and has experience with machine-level programming. Kalin has worked for Department of Defense contractors in the past as well as a major bank running IT and security, as has operated his own private IT and systems control business with police, government, and power plant contracts. Kalin stated, "A complete computer with operating hard drive and the bag of shredding contained voter registrations and what appeared to be vote-by-mail envelopes with signatures. I did not access the hard drive data as this would constitute a breach of data. I have a problem with this type of careless handling of records, as citizens' records could be stolen by nefarious individuals." Kalin stated that the computer belonged to the woman that handled voter registration and felon voters, and that this data breach is alarming, and that Charlotte County has not notified residents of the potential data breach. This potential data breach may contain voter registration information, which includes the name, date of birth, social security number, signature, and voter registration number. This information could be used to steal identities and obtain credit cards and other types of fraud. No AD subscription for CDM. Sign up here and support real investigative journalism and help save the Republic. Boxes of ballot were also discovered in an employee's car in the parking lot. Kalin said that in late December of 2022, a local citizen photographed SO office workers taking records boxes, including what appeared to be ballot retention boxes, out of the SO office and putting them into an employee's car, never to be seen again. Kalin is also in possession of photographic evidence that was provided to him. In November, Kalin was approached by a poll worker who regularly drove the election office van, and this individual provided a photo of a thumb drive in a sealed bag and a post-dated receipt a week before 2022 midterm elections for a local precinct. Shortly after receiving the hard drive and shredded ballots, other individuals come forward to Kalin. Some of them were employees of the SO office. During the 2022 primary, 2020 voted ballot or ballots were found in a voting machine at a precinct. Later, the same issue came forward as having happened in a training session at the SO office right before the 2022 primary. Kalin stated that he has not received any legitimate explanation for how this happened. Kalin said that the new SO had played this issue off as test ballots. Kalin said, "This issue begs to question, how did test ballots from 2020 get from records retention and get moved across town and put into a voting machine only to be found 2 years later? I question the legitimacy of this explanation." According to Kalin, In the 2022 primary and 2022 midterm election, Charlotte County had over 22% of ballots with chain of custody issues, many with no signatures, no seals, etc. Another issue that Kalin reported was that there was a number of individuals claiming they were told they could not vote as because their registration status was no party affiliation. However, this occurred in an open primary. Kalin stated that he met with the new Charlotte County SO, Leah Valenti, and informed her of what he was in possession of. Kalin said, she did not act, nor did she ask for the materials back. After first being ignored, Kalin is currently working with the Secretary of State's office on an investigation into the computers and records. As disturbing as this evidence of a potential election fraud, a potential data breach, and reckless stewardship over voter registration information is, it is equally alarming that the news media has ignored this information. According to Kalin, news outlets are refusing to cover the story or investigate it. This includes local talk radio as well as conservative publications. This may be out of fear of losing access to Governor DeSantis. Many activists across the state are unhappy with the governor on this issue after the passage of SB 7050, which many feel solidifies computer voting and allows for additional voter fraud by not adequately verifying identity. Kalin stated that he believes the voting machines can be easily programmed for fractional voting to tilt a race. There are also concerns about external access to the modems in the computer voting machines. The source code is considered proprietary information and the public and even the SOs are not granted access to the code. Therefore, there is no means to verify the authenticity of the election results. The enormous propensity of computer vote fraud coupled with the mail-in ballot fraud has prompted former President Trump to call for same-day paper ballot elections.